We are going to be looking at one of the major turning points of story, and today we are going to be focusing on the myth genre, and more specifically the midpoint of that kind of story. The myth or monomyth is a classic story of a hero who goes on an adventure, learns lessons, and is transformed by the end. Today we will be looking at 3 examples of movies within the myth genre, and then zooming in on their midpoints. This will help us better understand how to execute this turning point in our own stories. Let's start with King Arthur, the Guy Ritchie one. For the first half of the story, after the sword is revealed, the evil king starts looking for Arthur, chasing our hero and anyone associated with him all about the country in an attempt to eliminate his only rival. Halfway through the film, Arthur goes on a soul-searching montage through the Darklands and learns how to use the sword. Thus, the midpoint of our story, almost to the minute, is when he returns beaten and bruised, but with resolve. He comes up with a plan to go on the offensive and start attacking the king and his blacklegs. The midpoint has changed the direction of the action. At first, the king was attacking and chasing, but now Arthur is going on the offensive and attacking the king. Now let's move on to Hercules, the Disney one. For the first half of the film, Hercules is an aspiring hero, hoping to find his place among the stars. But he has no fame nor opportunity to gain fame.
A true hero. Great! Exactly how do you become a true hero?
At the midpoint, Hades has found out that Hercules is alive.
What was that named again?
Hercules.
And sets a trap for him. However, instead of killing Hercules like he wanted to, the trap is actually the vehicle that gives Hercules his stardom, as well as his dream of becoming a hero. The midpoint has taken him from zero to hero, if you will. And now onto our final example, and quite predictably, Star Wars. The first one. But actually the fourth one. For the first half of the film, Luke believes that his father was just a navigator on a spice freighter, and that he is someone that's just along for the ride because his droid, R2-D2, is the one that is carrying the plans to the Death Star. At the halfway mark, Luke is training with the lightsaber for the first time in his life. He puts the helmet on with the blast shield down and gets his first touch of the Force.
Stretch out with your feelings.
This turns the film from the science fiction we have seen before to the space opera fantasy that we have all come to know and love. The midpoint has turned him from farm boy into Jedi in training. The midpoint is a major turning point for our hero to go from a generally passive character to an active one. If we take this element of storytelling and use it in our stories, it will breathe new life into our second act, which is where most stories tend to lose steam and start to bore the audience. So, next time you're wondering why your story turns into a bit of a slog in the middle, it might be because you don't have a dramatic midpoint to keep the pace up.